Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into Intelligent Biosolutions Inc.'s latest announcement, and boy do we have some numbers to dissect. This filing might seem like just another piece of corporate paperwork, but it's actually a peek behind the curtain at what's happening with a company trying to make its mark. Before we jump in, if you love getting straightforward insights from these complex filings, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to join a community of savvy investors discussing these kinds of things, our Discord link is in the description below. Alright, let's get straight to it. This document is a Form 8K, which is basically a report of unscheduled material events or corporate changes that a company needs to tell the public about pretty quickly. Think of it as a company's urgent bulletin to the market. Our focus today is on Intelligent Biosolutions Inc., but what exactly do they do? Well, the name gives a clue. We're talking about biology and some sort of smart approach to it. They're in the business of, you guessed it, biosolutions. They're developing medical diagnostics and other products aimed at improving health outcomes. It's a tough field, full of science and regulation, but if they hit a home run, the impact can be huge. A key piece of info here is that Intelligent Biosolutions Inc. is listed on the Nasdaq Stock Market LLC, trading under the ticker NBS. This means their shares are available for regular folks like us to buy and sell, and they're subject to the rules and scrutiny of a major stock exchange. Now pay attention to this. Intelligent Biosolutions Inc. identifies itself as an emerging growth company. What does this mean for us? It means they get to follow some slightly less strict reporting and auditing rules for a period. While it can help smaller companies manage their growth, it also means investors might get a bit less detailed information compared to more established companies. It's a trade-off and something to keep in mind as we look at their numbers. The main event in this filing is all about their financial results. Specifically, they've issued a press release announcing preliminary unaudited revenue results for their fourth fiscal quarter that ended on June 30th of 2025. Remember, these are preliminary numbers, so they might see some tweaks later, but they give us a very important snapshot of how the company is doing right now. This report attaches that press release dated August 7, 2025 as Exhibit 99.1. This is where the real meat of the financial news lies. Even though we don't see the actual numbers from the press release directly in this document, the filing tells us that this is the source of the financial information. It's like the filing is saying, go read this other paper for the details. And who signed off on this report? Spiro Sakairis, the Chief Financial Officer. That's the person responsible for managing the company's money and financial reporting. So his sign-off gives this report official weight. Now let's think about what these preliminary results for the fourth quarter of 2025 actually tell us. While we don't have the full financial statements here, the fact that they're releasing preliminary revenue figures means they're likely seeing something noteworthy that they want the market to know about, either good or bad. Companies usually do this when they have a significant update. For example, are they seeing a big jump in sales that excites investors, or perhaps a drop that they want to get ahead of before the final numbers come out? In the world of emerging growth companies like Intelligent Biosolutions, these quarterly reports are crucial. They're often judged by their ability to grow revenue and show progress in their product development and market penetration. If their preliminary revenue numbers are strong, it could signal growing customer adoption or successful sales strategies. Conversely, weak numbers might indicate challenges in sales execution, market demand, or even product market fit. The fact that it's a preliminary, unaudited number means we should approach it with a touch of caution. Audited financials go through a rigorous review process by external accountants to ensure accuracy. Unaudited numbers are internal estimates, which are usually pretty close but can sometimes have adjustments. However, for an emerging company trying to communicate its trajectory, releasing these preliminary numbers is a way of managing market expectations and providing timely information. Think of it this way, if a company is growing rapidly, they might want to announce that growth as soon as they can to attract more investors and keep momentum going. On the other hand, if they're facing headwinds, giving preliminary negative news can be a way to soften the blow when the full audited report is released later. Without the actual revenue number from the press release, we're left to speculate on the magnitude of any reported change, but the act of reporting itself is informative. Companies in the biotech and diagnostic space often have lumpy revenue streams. They might have large upfront sales from partnerships or government contracts, or sales might be heavily influenced by the success of clinical trials or regulatory approvals. So understanding the context behind the revenue number is just as important as the number itself. What developments happened in their fourth quarter that could have driven this revenue or perhaps caused it to falter? Were there new product launches, key partnerships announced, or significant clinical trial results? These are the questions that a deeper dive into the accompanying press release would answer. Now, looking at the broader picture of Intelligent Biosolutions Inc., they are operating in a highly competitive and innovation-driven sector. Success often hinges on strong scientific research, effective product development, and a clear go-to-market strategy. Regulatory hurdles are also a significant factor impacting the speed at which products can be brought to market and generate revenue. As an emerging company, they are likely focused on securing funding, scaling operations, and proving the commercial viability of their innovations. The market's reaction to these preliminary results will be telling. Investor sentiment can shift quickly based on early revenue indicators, especially for companies that haven't yet achieved consistent profitability. A strong revenue beat could send the stock price soaring, while a miss could lead to a significant sell-off. This is why companies are often cautious about pre-announcing financial results, but when they do, it's usually for a good reason. Let's consider what could be driving this revenue. Intelligent Biosolutions Inc. is involved in areas like diagnostics for infectious diseases or other health conditions. The demand for such solutions can surge depending on public health trends, government spending on healthcare, and the company's ability to forge partnerships with healthcare providers or distributors. If we were to see the actual figures, we'd want to know if the growth was organic from their core products or perhaps driven by a one-time event. The filing doesn't provide specific figures for revenue, but it does point us towards the press release for those details. In the world of investing, especially with companies like this, every number counts. A percentage increase in revenue, even a modest one, can be amplified significantly in the stock market if it signals a new growth phase. For example, if they reported that their revenue grew by 20%, it means for every $5 they made last year, they're now making $6. That kind of growth, if sustainable, is very attractive to investors. On the flip side, a decline would signal that they're losing ground, perhaps to competitors or due to market shifts. It's also important to remember the emerging growth company status we discussed. This often means that their revenue figures, while growing, might still be relatively small compared to larger, more established players in the industry. The key for investors is consistency and the trend. Is the growth accelerating, decelerating, or staying flat? The filing mentions Item 9.01 financial statements and exhibits. This is where they tell us what other documents are being filed along with this report. In this case, it's the press release and an interactive data file, the cover page tag data. This interactive data is designed to make the information easier for computers and investors to process and analyze. It's all about making the data more accessible in the digital age. So what's our take on Intelligent Biosolutions Inc. based on this filing? The company is in a dynamic and potentially high reward sector. The announcement of preliminary revenue figures for their latest quarter indicates they have quantifiable results to share with the market. The fact that they are an emerging growth company means they are likely still in a growth and development phase where revenue is a key indicator of progress. The main risk for a company like this is the inherent uncertainty in the life sciences industry. Product development can be lengthy and expensive. Clinical trials can fail, and regulatory approvals are never guaranteed. Even with promising technology, market adoption can be slow. Another risk is competition. If their solutions are truly innovative, others will be striving to do the same or even better. On the opportunity side, the demand for tools and biosolutions is always present and often growing, especially with advancements in healthcare and a focus on personalized medicine. If Intelligent Biosolutions Inc. can successfully bring products to market that meet unmet needs, the potential for significant growth and profitability is substantial. In conclusion, this Form 8K tells us that Intelligent Biosolutions Inc. is actively communicating its financial pulse to the market. The preliminary revenue announcement is a signal that investors should pay attention to the full press release for the specifics. While we don't have the numbers here, the act of reporting them suggests a development worth noting. As investors, our job is to dig into those details to understand if this growth is a sustainable trend or a temporary blip. Alright, that's our quick decode of this Intelligent Biosolutions Inc. filing. What is your take on these preliminary financial signals, and what impact do you think it will have on the company's future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out. And of course, subscribe for more regular updates and deep dives into the companies shaping our world. Don't forget to join our Discord community for even more insights and discussions. Thanks for watching Corporate Decoder, and we'll see you in the next video.